Obviously, playing somebody with a stroke, it was really important to do as much research as I could about that condition, and very quickly discovered that no two people have the same experience of it. So amongst other things, going to hospitals and meeting people on wards and speech therapists and so on, I also came here. We discovered the amazing Sally McVicker, who runs these drop-in groups for aphasia clients, and this one this morning that we're returning to is a music group.
My name is Sally McVicker and I'm a trained and registered speech and language therapist, and I have worked with people with aphasia for nearly 30 years. Aphasia Reconnect started in November 2016. Its purpose is to give people with aphasia in the long term the opportunity to find other people, support other people with peer support and reconnect with life. So they bring in their CDs, we write them all down on a big piece of paper. We have a vote where people vote in what their favourite thing is, and when the CD is played we then have a discussion, quite deep discussion about the composer or about the performer and what we know about them, and with lots of reminiscing and feelings as well. The thing that people love about the music group is that there is enormous laughter and fun to be had because nobody thinks the same thing.
In Wings, the protagonist, Emily Stilson, has a stroke, and she also has something called aphasia, which is a neurological difficulty in naming things. And it's a very, very difficult linguistic problem. And so I didn't really know anything about it and was really keen, in addition to reading the books that Arthur Kopit mentions that he read in his research, to meet as many speech and language therapists and neurologists as possible. Sally really welcomed us into her group, and she opened the doors to the music group and to the drop-in conversation group, and she invited all of our cast members to attend as often as we liked, and that was an incredibly generous offer and really helped us in our research.
Meeting people from this group has helped me immeasurably, both consciously and subconsciously, actually, in a way I didn't really expect. I mean, obviously I come to hear people's experiences, to learn about what their most difficult experiences are, the greatest challenges, to observe their sort of physical characteristics, both physically and vocally. That's been really helpful. And there are many points in the show when a particular individual from this group comes into my mind, specific moments when Colin will come into my mind and I feel I'm sitting there in the group scene, and there's a scene in the play where everybody's doing a speech therapy lesson. There's a sort of group of about 4 patients, and my character really doesn't speak much. She just watches and listens, and always in that scene I bring Colin to my mind and think, what exactly did he feel when he's listening to all this sort of babble going on, this talk going on around him? You know, what's that like for him, and how does it, what was the expression on his face? There was something very interesting, complicated, and a little as though he's looking through fog. And actually fog, looking through a fog was my sort of recurrent image for stroke survivors. Trying to communicate, trying to hear what's being said, but having to do so through this sort of thick blanket of, blockage, interference.
There's 250,000 people with aphasia, 360,000 people with aphasia in the UK, and that's a very little known condition. More people with aphasia than have MS, more people with aphasia than have Parkinson's, and yet nobody's ever heard of aphasia. It is a silent disability which is very difficult for people to manage.
It can be incredibly lonely and isolating if you have aphasia, and so this group is really important in enabling people to connect, and so it's a real lifeline for people who travel from all over London in order to be able to meet each other once a week and share their experiences and also share their love of music.
The point of the group really is that I think that hospitals do a brilliant job insofar as they can, but people are sent home quite quickly, many stroke patients, and then they may well be stuck without much capacity to socialise or see people or get out. And of course that's not good at all if you're trying to learn to speak again and practice your speaking skills in your post-stroke life. So the drop-in group is one of several ways that Sally is organising for people to come and talk and practice their speaking skills and their listening skills and gain confidence in their communication post-stroke.